Hello everyone, I am going to show you a process video, the next steps I take when working on my traveler's notebook size journals. I am trying out a new setup, so let's see how it goes. These, I've got them far enough where I'm ready to put my pages in. I have other videos that tell you how I cut my journals out. I kind of do them pretty much the same. They're one 12 by 12 piece of paper. I cut off one edge so that it measures a certain way. Once I do that, I cut and fold. I don't know if I have one here. Let's see. These are in all different stages of being put together. Here we go. So it was one 12 by 12 piece of paper. And I decide where I want the front cover to be. And then I cut it appropriately. And like I said, there's another video which I will go ahead and link as well. Also, I take the piece that I cut off and I save it. Okay, and then I make a pocket out of the one edge so it looks like a pocket. And then the next step, so I save these. I'll set this on the side. And then I sew it. And I sew it so that the pocket has an edge on it. I sew the edges on it on the front and the back covers. They also have Ranger glossy accents on them. And it looks like this. This is the glossy accents. And so you're going to see some shining on, like these. This one has the flowers that shine on it. And I get that ready, and then I glue these down. That piece from the inside or the edge that I cut off, I measure it and I make a pocket out of it. So I have, this was on somebody else's YouTube channel a while ago. You mark it at, I think it's 4.5 and 9, and then you fold it. So you fold that piece up and it makes this cute little pocket, and I add some extra like vellum in it or just regular colored paper, and it's all, I use Distress Oxide. I like Distress Oxide. Using that, I do, go ahead and distress the edges to cover up the whiteness on it, and I make a tuck for the closure, and I glue it in, and it's glued in only on, let's see if I can grab something around here. There's a plain old tag so that I can put something in the top. So I only glue 3 edges of it so I can put a tag in, and then again this pocket. So I'm at the point where I am ready for pages. I also will sometimes go through the images that I have. This is Stamperia, and one of my favorites. It's Secret Diary. It's no longer being made. I have a feeling some of these are going to be turned into journals that I will use because I really liked the images on this one. I have extra ephemera from it. I bought a couple extra packs, so it can be used on even some of the other Stamperia cards. But I go through this, and I'll kind of start laying out what I want to put on the cover and on the back. This one so far has nothing on the back. And then I get my papers ready. So this one's ready. This one's getting ready. I haven't decided where I want to put this one yet, but I'm going to keep that with this one. So I'm going to tuck it inside and move off to the side for now. And this one, this is another one. This is the antique one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to keep this one to use for myself. I'm just gonna put Tomoe River paper in it, but you can see I've got some glossy accents on it. But I did the same thing. I created a pocket, so it's ready. Oh, and with the edges, there's that little crazy piece. Let's see if I can bring that back in. The piece that I cut off the top of this pocket, I cut into page tabs. Somehow, this one's not done yet, but you can actually, you know, this is kind of a process. I'm kind of showing you, I have some in different stages. So I'll cut this with either the, I think I put them away. I have a punch that I use, and I have the whale's tail punch, or I have tabs. I have the Tim Holtz ones, and I have an unnamed brand that I really like. They're a little bit smaller, and they're nice to use. So I cut those out, and then I put them in the pockets. I have little tiny envelopes that I put them in, so that they don't get lost. But these are foldable. You just fold them, and then you put them on pages. And I include these in my journals when I sell them. But there's one here, and they go on the pages. This one actually had a little extra circle I threw in here for right now. But these are all being just sitting here, being held in limbo until I can finish getting papers in. And this will be, I print a vellum page for the front of the journals, and I will show you that in my next steps. All right, I'm going to set this one aside. Tools. Tools you're going to need, I use a scoreboard. I have a scoreboard, a ruler might be used, and some scissors, distress oxide, or some sort of ink. I have I use the oxide more than I use the regular just vintage photo, but this is vintage photo. I have a tiny one too that I sometimes will use that for small areas. What else do I use? Well, I could show you some of the stuff as I work with it. This one is not for this. So I do have a tutorial on how to print on vellum for all of you that have the Eco Tank like I do. It is possible, and I will link that also. So this is the Epson Eco Tank. There is a simple way to actually print on vellum. The vellum, there's a video, I'll link that also below, so you have that. But I love to put a page at the beginning of my journals. I put one, and it's usually a coordinating one page so that it looks nice when you open it. And I picked this pretty light blue flower. What else can I tell you? Well, let's get into folding. One thing I do, and it will be noted on the actual Etsy. These papers I get them in charity shops, or maybe they're Daiso, but I cut them, I lay them out on my bed, and I make quite a few bundles at one time, because I have quite a few journals that need to be made, and not all are actually sold. Some of them are things that I use, and I set them out. I get all my pages ready. This is actually from a photo album. I like the color, and it's a more of a neutral color, and can be used for slipping in pictures, or I usually decorate it somehow when I'm working on these. But I have them. I lay them all out. You'll see that's a piece of tracing paper. This one looks like, let's see, there are some that are Can I see it? Yeah, see the eraser bond paper? It's onion paper. I think you can see that. Have that. There's Daiso fun papers, like this one is for lettering. Ledger papers. This was some fun phone, like note taking when you take phone calls. Graph. Line papers, whatever I have. I separate them all and then I put them into stacks so that they're ready to go. They'll be ready to go like in stacks like this. And I just pull one out, and it's time consuming, but I like to do it. It's fun. But this is my first sheet. This is the vellum. Oh, let's see. And what we're gonna do is I score it just because it's easier to score, and then put it in. And I double check how big my journals are. They should be standard notebook size, traveler's notebook size, but sometimes they are, which here's my tea. I have it labeled up here on the top. And this is for cutting. When I actually cut it out, I put it in the area I want. Sometimes I have to turn it upside down, but I get the image this is the image I want on the front. And so I lay it out this way, and then you can see it goes out this far. And if you, here, let me pull that one back out again. So like for this one, when I first did it, when I first cut it, it's a 12 by 12. And you can see I made a fold here, a fold here, and then eventually I cut this piece off. I just did one at one point, and I kept it, and I have a template that I lay down and I cut it down so that it fits. This one has a cute little kitty on it. And like I said, this is a secret diary. So this one, let's move on. This one is exactly at 4 1/4. Okay. So at 4 1/4, I have found that for the vellum piece, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So lately I've been going all the way to 4. So my mark is going to be at 4 and at 8. And that's so when I fold it, I can put some, if I choose, which I have been, if I choose to put lace on this piece, it will look nice. And it will lay better when sticking out of the journal cover. So inside, I have a couple of things. My favorite is this one. I just picked these up. These are from bookmaking. I'm gonna go ahead and score it. And if you have to make sure you're scoring the right side. So this one you can see it's a little darker on this side. That's the printed side. This is not. I want the printed side to be the printed side up when I fold it and place it inside. So I'm going to go ahead and score it at 4. I have to be careful because vellum has a tendency sometimes to crack. And 8. There we go. If you put these back where they belong, you won't lose them. And you can see the line on there. And then even though there's a line on there, it does take some, you have to be careful when you fold them because they do move. Oh, that's good. Get the part that goes with it. And then I'm going to flatten it to make a really good crease. And then if you're ever folding papers, this is the way to go. If you guys all remember Nick the Booksmith, she's the one that showed us all how to fold papers so that you get a nice edge. And it is to use your scoreboard as an edge. And it just works really, really nice. Okay. So, I have my paper ready. And I leave, let's see, I'm going to open it up. I leave this edge on it. A lot of times I make pockets out of it. And so I'm going to show you what I do with that as well. So it is longer because this is an 8.5 by 5, and traveler's notebooks are actually, I go centimeters. So this is actually 21 centimeters high. So I have to trim it down. So you will need a trimmer, and you can see right now that it is, when I lay it inside, there is a little bit of room here, which is okay. I don't mind that. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I'm gonna leave it because I'm gonna put some, like I said, I'm lace on it, and I'm gonna sew that edge. I'm also going to do some sewing on this part to make some pockets. So before I go any further though, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 21 centimeters. Okay, I trim that down. And I am going to, I'm not so sure what I'm going to do with that doily yet. But I could go like that. And you can see they stick out. That's a lot of times why I do use lace. And I put lace on each side of this, because the papers, because of how thick they are, how many I have in here, it does tend to run over the edges. So yeah, I'm gonna put lace on that one. All right, so now the rest of the pages. So when I count them, I count all of them. 1, 2, 6, 7. 13. There's 13 pages total right now. I like to do 15 or more, and that's so that you have a full month of spreads. So I need a couple more pages. So 13, and I print out different digitals on paper, and I use the Daiso paper. We have a Japanese store, and all of my tie-dye is done on this paper. It's called Free Note. It's really nice. It's from Japan, and it writes really nice, and it prints really well. You just use your A4 setting when you're printing, and I already did that. And so I have paper ready to cut down that matches the cover. So I'm gonna go ahead, and they're printed front and back. I'm gonna grab one of that one. So I'm gonna put in, I printed up 3 different pages. It's my pop of color. And this one's front and back. You see how that one matches the inside. And it has ledger that I printed on it. And then this one, which is kind of fun. I'm going to put that one in. Oh, I got 4 actually. This is Tracie Fox from her kit, her newest one. And that one goes in. This one ended up with edges on it, and that just gets trimmed off. And then when I reprinted it, I printed it right. Sometimes it's trial and error. So these are my porch prints, and you can see I have a white edge on it. I did print it borderless, but I used my A4 setting because this paper is A4. And so it puts a white border on each side. And well, all I do is I cut it off. There's different ways you can, play with it, make it. I'm going to use these 4 pages. I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. I'm not going to cut them down as of yet, but I'm going to cut off the white part so that you can see this one fit because it's A4. Tracie does her stuff in A4, so does this one. There's no white edge on there, but I have to cut that white off. I just do. So, and yeah, all right. I'll be right back. All right, here's my papers. This one's a little different. It's okay. It's a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. So my first, what I like to do first is I check the paper. What do I want printed, or what do I want? It's all printed. But what do I want to see when I open up the journal? Sometimes there's creases down the middle, and it makes a difference when I'm opening the pages up. So I'm going to look at each piece as I mark it. Sometimes I just go ahead and I start folding, but this one's kind of interesting. So here's my TN cover. As you see, there's my mark for my cover. So if I recheck real quick, yeah, that's my cover. I like to make it just a little bit smaller. What happens is like I said, as you fold these and you're putting them in the journal pages, they tend to jet out on the edges, and then I end up having to cut the edges off. I still might, but let's take a look to see what I can do here. So this is a normal TN cover size. If I make it this small, it gives me a little bit of room. Let's do this one 4. Oops. Okay. And you got to be careful, because if you press too hard, the stuff is a little bit thinner than this paper is a little bit thinner. And then you can see how this one's crooked. I'm gonna have to trim that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fold it to the edge. Yeah, this one's a little bit, oh, I don't want to fold it to the edge. No, I don't. I'm going to mark it at 4. And just fold it in. There we go. So you notice how I have this long piece. Sometimes I leave these in. I gotta trim that bottom up. It is not that straight. Yeeks. But a lot of times, like this one has a lot of room in it, and normally they don't. I don't know why this one's a little bit different. But I'm gonna trim the bottom, and then I'll find a place to put it in the inside. But let me do the rest of these. So this one you can see has this is one of Tracie Fox newest ones. And I printed it on the other side with My Porch Prints. So I'm just gonna fold this one in half and then trim it down to size, because I don't want that. This is like a double page, and this was supposed to look like like your journal, the sewing binding in it. And I don't want that, so I'm going to trim that one down. And this one doesn't matter. The reason why sometimes I save the edges is because I can use them elsewhere. So I'm going to do 4 and 8. Sometimes I just fold them in and leave them so that it's extra journaling space. Sometimes, let's see what this one is. Yeah. So I could leave this for extra journaling space. I'm gonna turn that around. Wow, I'm not folding that very well. Either that or I'm bad at drawing fold lines here. That's 3. There we go. Let's see. This one's good. Sometimes I make up tuck spots. And this one, I love how the images on this one shown through. I'm pretty sure this is Tracie Fox. Yeah, both of them are. And this one you can see a faint line running through it, but I'm just going to leave that. So like for this one, yeah, I'll do this one at 4 and a little bit more. And 8 and a little bit more. Eight and 1 tick. 8 and I think it's at 16th. But what I'll do, instead of saving this one, I'll rip it off or cut it off. Actually, I'm gonna just rip it off. And where did I stick my ruler? Oh. And I use this piece either in my journals. Ooh. The torn edge is cool. I'll keep that. I'll show you real quick what I do with those. So this one's just folded. I got a little bit of an edge on it. If I don't like it, I will trim it. See if I could show you real quick. So I put them on the insides of my journals, like here. There. That's pretty. That's a really pretty paper. Artie Mays, I think. And so I cut them down into strips, and I put them in at like looking like washi tape. I'll do it either even in these journals. I might even sew it to make it look pretty. All right, once they're all cut, I can start putting these little pops of color in the journal. There's a piece of tracing paper. I'm going to move that over here. Because you really don't have to write on it. It can be used as a nice sheet of cover over those photos. I'm going to use this one. Oh, I gotta trim this one down. This one's a little too big. So like here's some edges. I will use those in my journal or maybe in this journal. I will use them for but make it look like washi tape. All right, I also need to decide what I want to put in the center. My centerpiece page is almost always something that opens up, and it can be written in, but it's the one that will be opened up to either write on. This one will be pretty too. And or sometimes I make them so that it's the center of the book. So I'm not gonna use that one. I like this one, but I think I'm gonna use this one. So this one can be flipped out. You can write on it. Yeah, I'm gonna use this one. And one of these still needs some trimming. All right, so let's see, I count them, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna put it here. Even though I have real ledger pages, I like that one. It kind of matches. When I print up my pages, I go for something that's gonna match the journal cover as much as possible. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay. That should give me 15 plus pages, and if it doesn't, I will add tea stain paper to it to make it pages. So let's see, to make it up to 15 plus 15, 16, or 17 pages. Even though you can't write on this one. That's one reason why I do it too. You can't write on this. You can put pictures on it. I've done that. You can put pictures on this and you can write on it. But I try to give 15, 16 pages of writable pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. $15, $14, $15, $16. And this one was shorter, and I don't mind that. I'm going to leave it. Some of the other pages I do slip inside of it are, what is it? Like this one I printed from Pink Monarch Prints. I might sew that in the middle, which is fun. I think I will. So I will not glue this down as of yet. I'm going to sew it in the middle. And that's always fun. All right. And I don't put this stuff on until the end. Okay? That's sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And so for this, I'm going to hold it down for now, but I will leave this open because it gets sewn down. All right. Before I actually sew it down, I am going to put some lace on it. I have some laces that I keep next to my desk, so it's within reach. And I want to find something simple. I think I'm going to use that one or this one. This one seems really dainty, and so I'm not so sure that's what I want for the look. Nope. I do have some other ones as well that's tea stained. Let's take a look at that. I think it's too dark. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this one. Although that one would work. Nope. I got a bunch of these from my sister. Oh, this one looks like the same one. Oops. And then there's this white one. I think it's too much. Every once in a while, I go into Goodwill and I will find a roll of paper. Lace. A decent sized roll. Not one of these types of rolls. No, I'm talking like they must have got it from a fabric factory where they make, like this one looks like it's made for underwear or corsets or something, but yeah, there's a lot on this one. Not this piece. I mean, I've just taken some off so I can have it next to me at my desk. And not that one. I used to have some blue like this, but I don't. All right. It's too wide. All right. I'm going to go with this one. I have to move stuff off my desk. It's not that big, so it's easier just to move things off. And this is going to go on this vellum piece. So I'm going to pull it out and work on this piece. And I'm going to cut it a little bit longer than what I need. Let's see. These don't work that well. I like these. I have so many pairs of scissors. Why, you say? I don't know. I can't help myself. I got these from the Tim Holtz ones to try them out. I like them, but I think I've used them on too much paper. Not very sharp anymore. I have the fabric scissors, the short ones, the small ones. Oops. But they're pretty nice. But I do have quite a few scissors. My favorite ones are these. I got them off of Amazon. Be Creative, I think it says. Oh, Beadative. And these. They cut through lots of stuff. These I've had for a while. They're okay. They're sharp. They were sharp. Oh. So what I'm going to do is take my Fabri-Tac, whichever one I have on hand, and right now it's this one. I'm going to glue the edge, and I do this first before I sew it because it moves all over the place otherwise. I'm not going to change the color of it. I'm just going to leave it as is and get it close to the edge. And when I look on this side, I want to make sure it's pretty close to the edge and it's even. And I'll let that one dry. This one, I want to put that on this edge because I'm going to make pockets out of this stuff. So I'm going to glue it down. Run on a little bead. There we go. And yeah, mine doesn't bubble. Oh, there's a trick. Okay. When you turn it over, here, let me put this on first and then I'll tell you my trick. So this one needs to go on the inside. I'm gonna fold that in so it goes like that. So I can still, before I sew this into a pocket, I have to sew this down first. I'm hoping I can show you how to do that. My new sewing machine, or my new setup here this is a canvas. I think I should be able to do it. When I use my Fabrifix, I do not get a bubble at the end. And I was working with my sister-in-law and she goes, how do you do it not to have it bubble up the edge? And I think I figured it out. When you're going to use it, let me find a scrap piece. You want to, don't squeeze it. So when you flip it over, so you open it up, you flip it over, don't squeeze it to get the air out. Let the glue come down to the end, and then do your thing, right? And then turn it up. And what it does is it pulls the air in for the glue that you used, and therefore it will not bubble up. I used to try everything. I had another bottle that I used. I didn't like the other bottle. It was too gushy, too whatever. I didn't like it. So, all right. So that's done. To make my pockets, moving on. I had to dig out my punch. Yeah, and then my dog starts barking. This one is a 1.5 inch. It's EK Tools. And I kind of pretty much eyeball it. Fold it in half. But don't crease it, just gently. Let's do it this way. She's getting old. She hears things and she starts barking. One thing you want to check is make sure this edge is not too long and this edge is too long, too wide. So let me trim that down. All right, I trimmed off just this tiny bit, about 1/2 inch from the edge with my trimmer. And then I'm gonna go carefully just loosely fold it. And then take a little bite out of it so that I make a little indentation to get papers in and out of. So right about there. Looks like that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my sewing machine over and show you what I do, or I think I'm going to do it and then show it to you when I'm done, because I am pretty sure I'm not going to be able to show you otherwise. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I am back after sewing, and I will have to attempt to show you how I sew that another time. So what I have, move some stuff out of the way, is I've sewn the edge here, and I've sewn the edge here, so this is now got pockets. And I sew it here and here. I have glued it. I've done that too. I've glued it and then sewn it. For this one, I just went ahead and sewed it on, and they're pretty decent. They're pretty easy to make small ephemera to put them in, like that, so they can see it. So, and then like I said, I put that in as my first page, and then it goes in first and then my last page, so it looks like that. And when I put it in, I haven't decided if I'm going to put this in first. I'll put it in second. It's nicer to sometimes put it in second. I can see through there. It looks pretty. So now I have just a little bit of lace sticking out the edges, and it will cover up any extra the pages that stick out a little bit. This one actually is really good. It's nice and tight. Sometimes I'll put the lace a little bit like a bigger, wider lace on it, and it will stick out a little bit more. Next is punching holes and putting it into and sewing the binding in. I use a 5 pamphlet stitch, 5-hole pamphlet stitch binding, and I just make sure that all my pages are straight. This is time consuming. People don't understand how much time you spend in here, but for each one I must spend because I'm not quite done yet. I must spend easily 1.5 hours, 2 hours a piece, if not more sometimes. I make sure all my pages are lined up and they aren't sticking out too far. I just use these the clips for stitching hems and things, for sewing. I really like them. These are the big ones. They really, really work well. And I hold the pages down. Now, I told you I was going to put this in here. Somehow I'm going to make it. I've done other things too. I've put in other types of envelopes. I have put in file folders. I've done that. There's just a wide array of things that I go through and put in. So when I'm done, it'll be closed like this. But for sewing it, you have to open it up. So I'm going to make sure it's in there tight and as centered as I can get it. Move this in a little bit so I can grab it with this one and then really make it nice and tight. I use this lovely, looks like bamboo, hole puncher. Oh, I can't do that. That I got from my sister-in-law for Christmas a couple years ago, and it works really, really well. I was a little leery at first, but I gave it some time. I thought about it, and this is going to be interesting. All right, I'm going to have to fold that in to punch holes. And I used to use just a paper that I had holes on. Put them away since then, and I've kind of marked 5 holes on the bar, putting it 1 in the center and then 2 on each side. And it works pretty good. So I just go through and I punch it in. Oh, I can feel it's not tight. Punch a hole, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm giving you guys a little jolt here. I might have to put the canvas on the desk. There we go. You can see the holes. Right there. Got my 5 holes. It came with one of these punchers, and I had one before the awls. But I keep them together because they're very useful. Next, I have to choose a thread, and I go with something neutral on most of the journals. unless I'm doing something specific. All right. Brown is always good. I could use this color. That's the one that I've been sewing with. This one's really nice. Actually, this one matches it. So I think I might use that one. But this is my go-to, my upholstery thread. Coats and Clark upholstery thread. And this one is Gutermann. This is not upholstery thread. It's the, I forget what this one is, but it works really well. It's thicker than regular thread. Not that you need anything else, but I do about two lengths. Uh-oh, I forgot where I was. So they say do 2 and a little bit more, but I do a lot more. There's 1, 2, and then I'll trim it up a little bit. Oop. Yeah, they aren't very sharp anymore. And then I use tapestry needles. They work really well to sew my 5-hole binding. You can see this anywhere. I'm just gonna go through it pretty quickly, but you can see this a lot on the internet. People have done them. These, I think I might have done it. You start in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead, not yet, pull it through, and I'm gonna grab it, and you go up. Hopefully it hasn't moved. Happens sometimes, the papers move while you're moving stuff around. And you just want one thread. And then back in that hole again, the second one from the top. Next you're gonna go to the 3rd hole. I remember when I first started doing these, I kind of thought to myself, I wonder if I ever remember which holes. I used to have a little template that marked them all. And I can do this in my sleep. Where is that one? Right here. Sometimes they don't wanna. It's okay that I'm off on this one because it's still gonna be held tightly. So we go back up that last one, number 5, down 4, and up through the middle on 3, the 3rd hole. I don't know why they do that, but they do sometimes. I'm gonna punch through I'm not going through it, I'm just re-punching that hole. It's almost like it moves. And then you want to bring up your thread on the opposite side of where you did before. So where you went down, you want to bring up the opposite side so you can tie that in. One on each side. I kind of pull it taut. And then right over left, left over right, something like that. Square knot. And then I do one more. So it's like a knot and a half. And you can glue it if you want. You can use collage medium. I'm gonna leave these hang for right now. Sometimes I put little goodies on the center. There you have it. You have the oh, one thing I do want to remind you of, make sure that you've sewed it in the way you want it. I've done that. I've gotten done. I have to take it apart because all my pages are upside down. There is a right and a wrong way to this kind because the pages aren't all the same. All right. At this point, let's see. I have these little goodies on my desk. See if I have a different paper clip in here. Just to hold this one shut for right now, and I do know. I got these cute paper clips from. Everything's at hand's reach, but sometimes I have to move over and get things, so these are the cutest. They're little hearts on them. You get them in different colors. I got it in a bronze. And that's just to hold it for right now. I'm probably gonna leave it there, honestly. But there you go. That's it. And then I embellish it. I will let it sit underneath a pile of books for a while to make it so it lays flat. It is one of the biggest, oops, sorry, didn't mean to wiggle us. One of the biggest things is they still, because of all the pages in there and all the different kinds of pages, it doesn't sit quite flat. But I love writing in these. They are just perfect. And then I'm gonna somehow put this on here. I'm gonna probably glue it, but I may put lace underneath it still. It's always fun to do. All right, that's it for today. I'm gonna work on the rest of them, the rest of the pile I have, and get those done so I can put them online. Here's my, put one of those. Sometimes those are decorated. And I put those, I put one on them. There. I like it. Hope you do too. And I hope you enjoyed watching my little process. This is what I go through on my desk. By the way, for glues, a lot of, I do use art glitter glue. I just put it in this, it comes out too quick in this bottle, and so I put it in one of these. I like, they're fun to have. Looks pretty on my desk. Or I will use the Fabri-Tac to glue things in, or yeah, to make it stay. All right, I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I hope you all had a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.